The silence around Blake Lively is finally breaking, and it's not in her favor. One by one, people once closely associated with her are choosing distance instead of defense. First, author Colleen Hoover appeared to step back, and now cast members like Brandon Center and Isabella Farah are noticeably avoiding the spotlight surrounding her. That shift alone speaks volumes. As this legal dispute continues to unfold, it's becoming clear that early support may have been rushed. What once looked like unity now feels like quiet reconsideration. The polished image Blake carried for years is starting to show cracks, and public perception is changing fast. Let's take a closer look at how this situation evolved and why those closest to it are now rethinking their positions.
We're talking about the movie It Ends With Us, which has turned into a big major story between Blake and Justin. I'm wondering what you're thinking about that, processing it, navigating it. It doesn't involve you, but because you're in the cast,
Let's start with Brandon Center, who played Atlas in It Ends With Us, the childhood connection to Blake Lively's character. Recently, while promoting his separate project 1923, Brandon found himself facing unavoidable questions about the ongoing Blake Lively-Justin Baldoni controversy. What followed was a masterclass in strategic deflection. Instead of addressing the issue directly, he pivoted repeatedly, emphasizing the film's message and offering generalized statements about art and intention. Observers quickly noticed the pattern. When someone avoids a topic this carefully, it's often less about confusion and more about caution. His response suggested someone weighing every word, fully aware of the legal and professional consequences of saying too much.
Remember why we made the movie in the first place and what it stands for, and just keeping the focus on that. Like that movie meant so much to me, and I have someone very, very close to me in my life who's gone through what Lily's going through for a long time, and I've been on the front lines helping her navigate that space. So that movie meant a lot to me.
Yeah.
And it means a lot to her, this person in my life, and it was one of the reasons that me doing that film gave her the strength to change her life. So
you say focus on that.
Yeah, it means a lot to me. So it's unfortunate that things get taken away from what the ethos of that thing is, and it gets convoluted, and I just want to remind people of why that thing
I get that.
Ironically, the message Brandon pointed to is the same one Justin Baldoni has emphasized from the very beginning. Since acquiring the rights to the book, Baldoni has consistently framed the film as a project meant to spark serious conversation, particularly around domestic violence and emotional trauma. Even during the premiere, while much of the cast focused on branding and image, Baldoni remained aligned with the story's intent. Despite being sidelined and publicly isolated, he stayed focused on the mission. Brandon's recent remarks, whether intentional or not, echoed that same message. Rather than contradicting Baldoni, they reinforced what he's been saying all along: this film was meant to matter beyond Hollywood optics.
None of that matters. None of it. That's not why we're in the business. That's not why the three of us are in this business, is to attend a premiere like that and be celebrated. We're in this business because we're artists, and we believe in what we do, and because we want to create art that touches people's hearts and souls and can move people. And that's what we did. That's what you both did. And I believe that will follow each of us, and that truth will prevail, and that light.
After the dust settled and positions were quietly taken, something interesting happened. The cast began referencing the film's deeper purpose, a purpose that had largely been overshadowed during early promotion. Only after controversy erupted did the narrative shift back to substance. Veteran journalist Gayle King cut through the noise with a direct question that many were avoiding. When asked whether there was a clear side to support, the answer reframed the entire discussion. And that moment didn't calm things down, it intensified them. From there, the fallout only accelerated.
At this point, you're Bennett, you said I'm not in it, but are you Team Blake or Team Justin? He said, I don't speak English, Gayle.
I'm team It Ends With Us.
And he's Team Taylor and
Yes, and he's
Paramount
Team
Plus.
Taylor.
Yeah.
Got a little nick on his knuckle there.
No. Congratulations, Bennett.
The response was simple but revealing: I'm Team It Ends With Us. On the surface, it sounded neutral. In reality, it marked a significant pivot. Rather than backing individuals, the focus moved to the project itself, a safer stance, and one many believe should have been taken from the start. To understand why this matters, it helps to look back. In late 2024, Brandon Center publicly supported Blake Lively, sharing her legal complaint online and signaling belief through visible endorsement. At the time, it seemed decisive. Fast forward to today, and that enthusiasm has vanished. The contrast is striking. Early on, many in Hollywood appeared to side with Blake, the more powerful and recognizable figure. As more filings, evidence, and counterclaims surfaced, public opinion began to shift. Support softened. Silence replaced certainty. Brandon's current restraint, compared to his earlier public alignment, suggests a reassessment not just of facts, but of risk. This pattern isn't isolated. Isabella Farah, who portrayed a younger version of Blake's character, has also pulled back. Once vocal, she's now noticeably quiet. That kind of retreat often signals internal conflict or new information. Notably, both legal filings reference her communications, including messages that allegedly praised Baldoni's conduct on set before promotions began. As the case evolved, so did the dynamics. Industry observers point out that neutrality in Hollywood is rarely accidental. It's often strategic, a way to wait for clarity before committing. Once public support shifts, so do alliances. What started as vocal backing has now become cautious distance, highlighting how quickly loyalties change when reputations and careers are on the line.
Shoes, and then the bracelets, we've got the earrings, everything. I feel it's crazy.
How do you feel? I know. Are you taking it off?
Yeah, I'm like trying to find words and I actually don't have any words. It's unreal, yeah.
First of all, you are so lily-coated right now with the outfit.
I had to.
Walk me, tell me the story behind the outfit.
Well, I mean, this is all pretty much Blake's styling. She's been my stylist.
Isabella's position became even more complicated following claims about how she was cast, statements that later appeared to be incomplete or overstated. As more evidence emerged, her public presence around the controversy faded almost entirely. That timing hasn't gone unnoticed. Behind the scenes, questions about influence and power have taken center stage. Multiple accounts suggest Blake held significant sway over the cast, far beyond typical professional dynamics. Challenging her narrative reportedly meant risking access to some of Hollywood's most influential circles. That imbalance helps explain why many stayed quiet early on. As legal pressure mounted, cracks began to form. Brandon's withdrawal, Isabella's silence, and even reported distancing by Blake's own publicist signaled a broader unraveling. Allegations surrounding coordinated PR efforts and narrative control have only intensified scrutiny. Meanwhile, Justin Baldoni has continued pushing forward legally, refusing to retreat despite mounting opposition. Attempts by Blake and Ryan Reynolds to dismiss his claims have been widely viewed as defensive rather than confident. Legal analysts have openly questioned certain strategies, particularly suggestions that she could dictate deposition terms, something courts simply don't allow. Public sentiment has continued to evolve. Stories highlighting Baldoni's conduct and character have circulated, while those once aligned with Blake appear increasingly focused on protecting their own reputations. What's emerging is not just a legal battle, but a revealing look at how influence, fear, and self-preservation operate within the entertainment industry. At this point, the narrative has shifted dramatically. What once seemed like a clear-cut story is now layered with legal complexity, power struggles, and strategic repositioning. As evidence continues to surface and alliances continue to change, one thing is clear: this situation is far from over, and its consequences may extend well beyond a single lawsuit.